My question is about birds and trees. And I love birds. I love to feed birds, wild birds. And I have a big oak tree in my backyard. I've lived there about a year, a little over a year. And when I moved there...
Are you feeding birds or cats?
I try to avoid the cats. I used to worry about the cats. But I've learned from you guys not to worry about the cats, and they're not much of a problem anymore.
Yeah.
And I love to feed the birds, like when birds are migrating, and I attract birds that you don't really see in our area very much. It's really cool. Get birds. Anyway, now the oak tree is full of birds all the time, and it used to be that, I'd go out there and there'd hardly be any birds. And I know what Seth said about trees and about how if a man passes by a tree and walks by a tree every day, the tree recognizes, knows that it's the same man that walks by. And I know that, well, my question is the tree happier with birds in its branches? Does the tree know? Does it care?
All day long we've been talking about minding your own business with humans, and now we got to worry about how the tree feels.
I'm not worried about it. I just wonder. I always think about it. Does the tree care?
There's consciousness in everything,
right.
And the consciousness of nature finds many more harmonics than the consciousness even of humans. And so, yes, there is a revelry between the vibration of the tree and the vibration of the bird. Even as these birds are migrating, your intentions are reaching out to them. In other words, they are finding your tree because of your intentions. So it is a vibrational thing. So more and more, as you join the ranks of the vibrational world, you'll find yourself integrating with them and understanding them more and more. Esther remembers walking on the first property that she and Jerry constructed in Texas, and every day that she would walk by this section, it was only 3 acres, but part of it was landscaped and part of it was not, and there was a part that they would take their walk through, and Esther would say, every time she walked through here, I feel like someone is telling me that they are thirsty. And Jerry is laughing a little bit because he knows that she's talking about the plans. And so he said, well, everything here is on a sprinkling system, so I'm sure everything's all right. And they'd walk through again, and Esther said, I just keep hearing that somebody's thirsty. And so then they traveled for a while, and when they came back, this section of the garden was really showing weariness from not enough water, and the sprinkling system in that part had not been working at all. And so Esther was feeling the desire. It was a request for water, was what it was, just a request for water. Everything in your planet is consciousness, and there is a request for water. In fact, it would be good for you to know that the water patterns of your planet are happening because of the vibrational requests of the plants. Isn't that nice to know? That's why it waters by rain less frequently in the desert, because there is less request. That's why it waters more frequently in the rainforest, because there is more request. There is a management system going on, a vibrational law of attraction, responding to vibration thing going on. And because of the nature part of your planet, the beasts and the flora and the fauna, you don't have to worry about your world. Man interferes a bit and gets himself in the way a bit. But yes, communication is constant.
And migration, how do they know when they fly? A little hummingbird flying across the Gulf of Mexico. How do they know where they're going?
Humans want to call that sort of thing that they witness instinct. We want to call it receptive mode. Okay. In other words, they have desire just like humans, but they don't have thoughts and beliefs that block their ability to receive. So, broader perspective, aware of them and interested in them just like you, is offering the signal that they receive, so they know where to go. And rarely do they get confused until they get hooked up with human and dependent upon humans' response. In other words, you can train an animal right out of its receptive mode, just like you can train each other out of the receptive mode. But it's natural for you to be in the receptive mode, and the animals in the wild certainly are.
I used to think I was doing them a favor feeding the birds, but now I know they're doing me the favor. I feel like it's the other way around.
Well, think of it as co-creation, and realize that they don't need you,
Right.
and call it harmony, and don't make it a responsibility, or it'll get out of whack. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
This is my first time, and in 2012, I met a man on eHarmony, and I thought we would work out. And then he kind of disappeared, and I'd already gone through a lot of heartbreak. But then I hit rock bottom, and about a couple months later, I had some friends that introduced me to Abraham Hicks. And I bathed myself in Abraham Hicks. And it's changed my life. And I think I'm just here to thank you in person. I'm a restaurant owner, and I've had a restaurant now for 12 years that I started on my own with no experience except just desire. My background is art. I'm a very creative person. When Abraham Hicks was introduced to me, I started understanding what alignment was, and I don't think I'd ever felt it before. And
you certainly had felt it because your creativity came from it. You weren't consistent at maintaining it, but you certainly were aware when it was flowing.
Yeah. It allowed me to understand that I had total control over that I could have it consistently. And so that was in 2012. Over the course of 2012, my business flourished. Life was grand. I can't imagine life getting any better. In 2013, this same guy that I met, we got reintroduced to each other. In 2014, a year ago, we got married. He's awesome. I mean, the sex is awesome too. But the things that we create together, I can't imagine that there's anybody else that have been so perfect for me, and he feels the same. And in October of 2014, I opened a second restaurant. And I could have never imagined to do that.
So we have some questions for you.
Yes.
And it'll be meaningful for everyone. So the meeting through the eHarmony, so you felt conditional compatibility, yes? Turned out it was right, didn't it?
Oh, yeah.
So what do you think was off at first?
Me. It's funny.
So somehow the questions that were asked got right to the core of your vibrational essence. And so you were matched up based upon your vibrational essence. But you weren't a match to your vibrational essence, and he wasn't either, really. Neither one of you really a match to who you really were.
Right.
And so that's why it felt off. Isn't that interesting? And so what do you think happened in that interim time? You feel like you came back into alignment with who you really are?
I do. I started having trust in myself and the way I felt about things, and stopped listening to everyone else. And it's
distracting, isn't it?
I kind of just went like this. And then by doing that, I would spend so much time listening and understanding.
Does it feel to you that the clutter and confusion that comes from trying to collect a lot of data from a lot of people that are not in a place to really give it to you, did that cause you to launch a stronger rocket of wanting your own guidance?
It totally did, because it had led me so astray before. And I think all along I probably knew that I was smarter than that I should be listening to my inner self.
Yeah. Is there something else you want to know from us, or have you got it all figured out?
Can I hug you?
Vibrationally, it's the perfect way. Vibrationally, it's the perfect way.
I just want to thank you for changing my life. And
I just want to thank you, Abraham, for holding the tone of who I really am and offering the signal consistently enough that I could move around in relationship with it and actually show myself when I'm in alignment with who I really am and when I am not. The appreciation is felt both ways, but we want you to take ownership of what really happened here. In other words, you're the one who lived the life, and you're the one who created the vortex, and you're the one who launched the rockets one at a time, and you're the one that felt the discord, and you were the one that wanted the alignment, and you were the one that found the thoughts that brought the alignment, and you were at the center of everything that's coming to you. Mm-hmm. It's just so delicious when you're doing it on purpose, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It's wonderful to understand that it feels so much better to be happy than what everybody else wants you to buy into. And it feels so natural.
The thing that is so interesting about that statement, and it may be the thing that we have said the most over all of these years, every single thing that everyone wants, no matter what it is, whether it's a relationship or a material object or an empire or a business or a circumstance or an event or an object, everything that everyone wants is because they believe in the achieving of that condition that they will feel happiness. Mm-hmm. And once happiness becomes the prize that you're reaching for, once happiness is what you're looking for, then you take all of those unnecessary, convoluted, conflicted, confusing conditions out of the equation, and now the law of attraction just goes right out and brings right to you all of the pieces that are a perfect match to you. Talk about e-harmony dot universe. It's a powerful thing that you all have going on. It's just the way you intended it to be. You said, I'll go and I'll be in a physical body and I'll sift and sort and I will decide. I will find my preferences. I will expand. And you weren't just talking about you in this physical body. You were talking about you as a consciousness, as a source energy consciousness. I will cause expansion. And I will recognize how much of the expansion that I have created that I'm allowing myself full manifestational evidence of. These are the things that we wanted you to receive from this gathering today. We want you to feel the realness of attraction. We want you to live in your world and eat your food and have your relationships and drive your vehicles and bask in the beauty of all of this that is physical. There is not a separation between what's spiritual and what's material, because the material is the extension of what is spiritual. It's the fullest evolved manifestation. But if you're hung up on the material before you find alignment with the spiritual, then the material won't come to you, and then you come to the erroneous, flawed premise that there's something wrong in wanting the material. Nothing wrong in wanting it, just don't want it more than you want alignment. Find alignment, and everything in the world that you have ever wanted materially will come easily to you. We've enjoyed this interaction more than words can convey. We are happy about what we accomplished here together today. We are happy about where you stand. And we are happy about the insights that have made their way home to you. A wonderful thing has happened with each of you vibrationally. We are happiest about the validation that is on your doorstep for this vibrational shift. And we want you to, as the evidence flows in, and so much of it coming, as the evidence flows in, just remind yourself, I shifted vibrationally, and law of attraction is demonstrating that shift. There is great love here for you. And as always, we remain in your vortex.